Hello, I'm Julia Cordova. Thank you so much for subscribing to my YouTube channel and liking my videos. I really appreciate it. Today I'm going to talk about a trade that got a lot of attention last week, and that was my nuclear NQ or NASDAQ short. I'm going to talk about how I traded that. I'm going to talk about why I traded that, and then I'm going to talk about what I could have done better so that we can all learn together. And there's a lot to talk about, so I'm just going to get started. All right. Okay, so somebody started out by asking me, are you still short NQ? And let me just show you the chart here. This was the chart at the time. I think I had shorted the NASDAQ somewhere around this area. Now, I've talked lots of times about when you're against the trend, especially coming out of what I pointed out myself was a bull flag. But anyway, when you're short against the trend, I don't want to go all in, right? I want to have a plan. So my plan was to have 1/3 of a position open short and add the rest of the 2/3, either if it got to the pink, which I thought was resistance, or if it got below some level of support, whether it's on the daily or hourly or what have you. So I just wanted to stay 1/3 in and then add or subtract based on that. So, okay, so somebody says, let me get back there, are you still short? And I said yes. And I was actually prepared for this because the NASDAQ had hit a high overnight and an all-time high overnight. And typically speaking, I've seen my own observation is that when things hit all-time highs, they're going to happen during the U.S. hours if it's the U.S. market. They're not going to screw the international people with, you know what I mean? If they're going to leave somebody holding the bag, it's not going to be the international, it's going to be us, right? That was my logic anyway. And I would be interested if anybody out there, I know that the market moves mostly at night now, or had moved for a while, mostly up at night and then sideways or up during the day. If anybody knows about how liquidity, or it can measure liquidity at night versus during the day, I'd be super interested in that. Please let me know on Twitter or in the comments here. Thank you. All right, anyway, so I had been 1/3 short, and I was just, you know what? Because I was prepared, right? I was prepared in either scenario for it to go up or for it to go down, and I was like, that's great. I'm ready. Let's. And I was very zen about the whole thing. It was actually probably creepy because I was just like, I don't care, because I was all watching my Three Musketeers or whatever go up. My other trades were great, so I'm just like, well, 1/3 of a position, I'm fine. So anyway, and then someone says, hey, it hit the pink line. Is this bazooka time? And just so you know, I have all sorts of weird words that I use. I don't know why, but bazookas are actually not my additional 2 scales. Bazookas are like a triple position. So like bazookas are used very gingerly, actually, in my account. But anyway, my message was, no, it needs back below, because what had happened was I was watching price when it hit the pink line. I was ready to add the additional 2 scales, and it wasn't acting right. Like it had gone above the pink, and then it was sort of kind of back testing the pink, and I was like, I'm, no, not prepared to add just yet, because it looked to me like it might go higher. Now, some people at that point would have said, you know what, I'm going to stop out of this. I did not, because I was very confident in my directional sense. I feel like I'm like a bat. Sometimes I'm early, but I feel like I got a directional sonar that's really, I have a lot of confidence in myself. Not that you should or anything, not that anybody should, but I don't know. I was very confident. I had a lot of conviction, and I had a plan. I had a backup plan in case that it didn't bounce off of the pink. And so let's go there. About to go nuclear short. Nice knowing everyone. And you know what? Good for this person for being like, about to, yes or freaking no. Are you gonna be, good for the, but I was also feeling like I didn't really want people to specifically follow me, because it's a very risky trade, right? Especially when I'm not talking about a bazooka or bazookas, which are like, 3 times my normal size position. I'm talking about like the kitchen sink I threw at this thing. In fact, I got rid of some of my other things in order to fully short this. So I said yes, I'm fully short NQ, and I put it out there for everybody. I mean, at least if I was wrong, I'm going down in rainbow flames, and I'm going down honest, right? Like, okay. Anyway, that was my logic. So here's what happened. Now, I'm going to go back to this first chart here. Oops. I'm going to go back to this first chart. Now, you don't see a black line here, right? There's no 11,250 black line. There's only the pink, right? But if I go back here, I added a line here. And I didn't want to share it, because you know how I got this 11,250? Do you know how the Cordova brain works? I don't know. I don't even know if you want to know, but I'm going to tell you. So it had gotten above my pink line here, and I was then betting, because of the way that it was so strong after some of these candles that weren't all that strong, I was betting that this was a false breakout. And if it was a false breakout, my other bet was that the algos like to revolve around even numbers. And even though you're like 250 is not an even number, it kind of is, right? Like, it's not like, I mean, I wouldn't say 225 or 230 or 255 or anything like that. I just picked it just looked like a good number to me. And that's what it is. I mean, I'd like to say I was so freaking genius that I came up with something. I was prepared to let it go to 11,300 and then throw more stuff at it, like everything. And it's already like a lot. So I was prepared, but I just thought 250 seemed like an even number. That's the place where I thought it would, if it was a false breakout above the pink line, that's the place I thought it would turn around. And people were asking me too about the mechanics of the nuclear. They're like, why are you doing this? And I didn't want to, my pink line is just my pink line, right? It's not everybody else's pink line. I don't know where your support and resistance is, but like, I just have a lot of faith in my pink line. Now, where did I get the pink line from? Let's discuss. I'll make it smaller. Way back here is where this pink line started. So I thought, you know what? Like, that's solid, right? That's a solid, like, 1, 2, 3. That's a solid line. And then it wasn't touched. And it wasn't touched for a really long time until here. And look how much like resistance it got there. I'll make it bigger. It got a lot of resistance there. So I was reasonably confident. I don't like how it moves my stuff around when I make it big and smaller. Anyway, I was reasonably confident that this pink line, if it was a false breakout, that it was a good line to go off of. That's all. So then, I had also confessed that, and I didn't say this at the time because I'm like, I'm not selling these things because it's time to sell them, although it was. But I was selling them mostly so I could just short the crap out of the NASDAQ or NQ. Well, anyway, somebody said, so what's your target for shorting? And I said 11,027 if it could break the hourly pennant. So I was going off of an hourly chart here. Why doesn't anybody ever... I'm going to like my own tweet right now. Good for me. All right, anyway, 11,027 if it can break the hourly pennant. And that's only 2% off the nukes. Well, let me show you the price action. So I shorted right about here, and I mean, again, like throwing the kitchen freaking sink at it in front of the whole entire Twitterverse, like, oh, help. Anyway, you can see that the price action wasn't that great for me initially. It even did like a little back test thing and then went higher, and I was like, oh, lordy, what's going to happen? But yeah, I don't know. I was confident. So anyway, somewhere overnight, finally broke down, and I was like, oh, yay. And because it had reached a new high here overnight, I was very happy to take some profit. I think right about here, actually. I didn't get the lowest low. I just wanted to take some of it off the table because I did think it would bounce again because of the price action that I watched. So I took some off the table overnight, and then I waited for the jobs numbers right about here, and then I had taken what I took off and I re-added at 250. And seemingly smart at first, then not so smart, and then really freaking smart. And I just kept holding. I was so anyway, I kept holding through this flash up because I don't know what to tell you. I'm a bat. I'm a sonar. I'm like, this is going to happen. I just and I was prepared to put my tail between my legs and my wallet. Like I was prepared. I was prepared in any scenario, but I trust myself. Not that you should trust me, I'm just saying I trust myself. So anyway, I wanted to talk about this because I said 11:027, and it came so close. It came so close, just like within about 10 points or so, and that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Now, what I should have done when it got into this area is I should have put a trailing stop on some or all of it, right? I should have done that, or just some of it, because I'm in it for the duration, unless it gets back above here, but we'll talk about that later. Anyway, so I should have put a trailing on here. I did not, because I was getting a little cocky, right? Because I was like, yeah, look at what I did. I already took some profit. I re-added. Like, I was getting real cocky because I had all my nukes out there. And anyway, it bounced back up here, and I was still like, oh, will it? And then it didn't, and I ended up taking some off right about here. And I was mad at myself because I certainly did not optimize my profits. And what I can do differently is that when it gets within a certain range of my target, I can put that trailing stop in and make more money than I did. I was getting a little cocky. Anyway, I've still got some of that short on. It's probably not going to. My phone is like, it would, you know how they're always listening? It started like, okay, Googling what I was saying. Can you imagine what it would come up with? I don't know. That's kind of creepy. Anyway, I am still somewhat short in Q. I'm waiting still, and so I'm short in Q for several reasons. Number one is it's like I just feel like it needs to go more down than it has. And also because so many people were like, wow, congratulations. And I did have a great week because of it. But I don't think I should get congratulations after 2%. You know why? Because I've had bear antennas out for 3 freaking weeks. Now, have I traded bearishly? No, I have not. But I've had my antennas out. I mean, I've done scalps and stuff. And I've had my antennas out. So people should not be congratulating me off of this, one little call, in my opinion. I mean, it was the reason it was so great was because I went so big, not because I am so great that I was able to detect this. Unless it is the top, and yay me. I don't know. Who knows? But anyway, I'm still short and with a full position, and we'll see what happens next week. I expect that there'll be some uppage before there'll be some downage, and it very well could come and test this overnight high, and who knows what'll happen. I'm prepared for any scenario, and that's the whole key, right, is being prepared. Okay, yay, that was NASDAQ. Let's talk about SPX or ES futures. Let's look at the weekly. Wow, from my bear antenna, it was good this week. My bear antenna for these 2 weeks, even though I think, it did have some flashes down, ultimately, wow, look at that candle on the weekly. I still hate it. I still absolutely freaking hate it because there's no wick here. And that means there'll probably be a wick on the next candle, which is next week, so it'll go up first, or at some point if it closes down. I don't know. But I still hate it. And so maybe I know a lot of people say that because we closed this gap here, we're going to all-time highs. I don't know. But anyway, let's look technically at what happened. This is actually a bull flag looking thing, right? I don't know why I didn't draw it in. Did I draw it in? Oh, maybe because it's weekly? Anyway, it's a bull flag looking thing. And it's up from this level. So the measured move... Oh. Can I do this on the fly? Let's see if I'm good enough to do this on the fly. Price range. What do we call the bottom of the flag here? To the top of the flag, which was here. Ish. I don't care. Oops. Now let's go from the bottom of the flag. Oh. Well, the bottom of the flag would be here, right? Huh. Interesting. That would be a double top. 340.73. Oh. Wow. Well, there's resistance there anyway, right? There's always resistance at a past high. Huh. All right. Anyway, that's the weekly. Interesting. Okay. Here's the daily. And you know, I'm such a bad. I'm so good and bad at the same time. I put in Eric's NQ tweet. You know why? Because because he had tweeted I'm all in right at this candle, and he was right for a while, and then he was really super wrong, and then deleted the tweet. And you know what? I wouldn't have put this in here at all had he not deleted the tweet. I would have been like, good for you for having faith in your position. I mean, but you know, what are you going to do? Now I put another yellow line here is because this one is this is the day that I was like, I was like, hey, if you went long when I did, and I actually did go long this day, I'm like, now is the time to hedge or take some profits or something. So I put that yellow line in there, and it was also the last time that Eric tweeted about the stock market. and then that makes me happy. Okay, anyway, so the last time he tweeted about stock market before this time was actually on June 5th, and then what happened, right? And then he tweets about it again here. So let's see. I'm so bad. Maybe it will never do anything. Maybe it will just come down. No, totally will. But let's see how soon it happens anyway. Maybe it'll come down and back test off the Eric line. Or, there is an open gap, though, an open hourly gap at 3184. Where's that? That's somewhere around here. So there's an open hourly gap there. So I wouldn't expect those to stay open very long. Anyway, yeah. So, and then from an RSI perspective, I mean, does this look bearish? No, not even a little bit, right? And from an RSI perspective, also it does not look bearish, except for this potential divergence. But if it keeps going and gets higher, then well, let's see. RSI has to get higher than it was here, in order for this not to be divergence. So it would have to keep going quite a bit in order to get rid of that divergence. But it's just possible right now because it's, nothing's happened yet. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. But anyway, I certainly wouldn't go all in short. I did buy a little bit of UVXY. For me, UVXY is like a little bit of a lottery ticket. I was feeling frisky. I was like, I didn't like these hammer candles. I don't like this action. I don't think when it goes down, it's going to go down gingerly. I could be wrong. Absolutely. But I just like having a little lotto ticket in my back pocket. I don't know why. It makes me feel good. Also, it's such a crazy, stupid trade. I don't know. I put a little bit in there. And also, I've been watching these VIX traders on Twitter, and they are so good. But I will say, generally speaking, whenever I see one of them go, okay, every time this, and this happens, then this next thing happens. Every single time I see that happen, I'd wait a little bit because it never is actually true. Like, I mean, it could be true, but I just always try to wait them out. I'm like, ooh, I really want to buy the VIX. Like, ooh. Like every day I'm like, oh no, I'll wait until tomorrow. And I couldn't wait anymore. And then I just wanted to be honest about it, because I just think this looks like, I mean, it could, look how long this kept going. So people who were like, wow, look how many days in a row. Honey, y'all, look how many days in a row this kept happening. And I was bullish this whole time. So it's like, you know, it could absolutely do a whole thing. And also, I felt that it would close the hourly gap before it closed this gap. So I was wrong. Did I care that I was wrong? Not so much. Because the money that I had taken out of the market here, I had put into precious metals and or silver, Natty, and coffee. So I feel like I did really good. I'm certainly not like the amount that I lost by getting out here and we're here compared to the amount that I gained from being in those three things. I don't care. Anyway, I do care in the sense that now I'm short NASDAQ and they're probably related. But anyway, we'll see what happens. It doesn't look bearish. It's probably bearish because it doesn't look bearish. But let's see what happens. Okay, let's talk about gold. This is gold weekly. This is an ugly candle. And you know how I talk about ugly candles not being the top? It's probably not the top, but it might be an interim top. And if you are not yet long, and it broke out over here. This looks like it could be a giant bull flag. It broke out, and it's possible that it keeps going higher. It's absolutely possible. But if you are not long yet and you're looking for a way to get in, I will say this trade is really super crowded, so it might make sense for it to take a dip and just kind of silence all the gold bulls and all the Robin Hooders. And I mean, I don't want to call them that because they're good people. Silence all of the new traders that think that they are super smart because every trade they make is great because it all goes up, right? It seems like this is a time to silence some of those folks. And if that did happen, I would look for it to potentially back test this previous high of 1926. Probably go a little bit. If it's going to go all the way down, that would be such a technical, beautiful buy that if it does go all the way down there, it'll probably go lower. Probably, because that would just be too beautiful. But I'd watch the price action there if it got there, and we'll try to figure it out. I'll be watching because I'm out of 2/3 of my silver position, so I'll be watching both gold and silver if they go down. If they go down, if they go up, I will be beating myself up. Honestly, I will. I'm just telling you this. Anyway, I'll be watching price action this week to see where this RSI support is, if it back tests, or if it's a false breakout. I hope not. But I'll be watching it, and I will keep you informed via the Twitter machine. Let's look at silver. I sold some on Thursday. Let's make this daily. So, I'll tell you, I sold some, and it was right here, I think. Yeah, because it had back tested the 30 level. I had also called out 30 as a potential target, but it had not back tested, but it had gotten to 30, and then it was like boom chakalaka, but not yet when I had sold it. Anyway, when I sold it, I even said when I sold it to short NASDAQ, look what kept happening. It went up. And then I was like, man, am I dumb? Because at the same time silver was going up, so was the NASDAQ. And I was like, wow, I sold a winning position to get into a losing position. Like, I am dumb. That's what I was thinking to myself. But anyway, the next day then I said, hey, for those that are still in it, 30 was sort of a good place. Look at the volume here too. I mean, the size whenever I look at volume, I always also look at the size of the candle, because if the candle is a bigger size or bigger range, then it's okay for the candle to be bigger because there's more action. It's when the candle is tiny it's when the candle is tiny, or if it's large and the volume is large, that I super pay attention to volume. But anyway, there was a lot of action on Friday. So, I mean, it looks like for now, it kind of kissed 30, if you will, almost. I think the high was 29.91. You know, again, it's one of those things where I would have had to sell at 30 if I still had it. I did not. Anyway, you know, trailing stop when you get within a certain amount of your target. Yeah. So that's what I would do next time if I still had it. Anyway, I'm out of it, 2/3 of it right now. And, you know, of course, the first place I would look without my beautiful lines on this daily or on the weekly would be at the MAs. So I would, if I were looking to add to a long position, I would look at the 9 MA and then the 20 and then the 50. And then if it got below, even, you know, I would allow it actually to get below the 20 just because I think, you know, people are like, it's going to correct 15,000%. You know, is it though? Is it? Or will it just correct enough to scare the bejesus out of people and then go up? I don't know, but we'll watch it either way, and I'll let you know if I see something, and I'll have to recreate my freaking charts. I was really avoiding this, to be honest with you. Okay, so now let's look at oil weekly. And at some point, I meant, you know what, I have to say, I'm not used to this much interaction. I try to respond to people that ask me questions, but I can't always, if somebody asks me to look at a chart and they don't send me the chart, I don't always have time to look at charts for other people on an ongoing basis. So if you could just, if you're interested in something, please send. It's like, you know, you don't want to bring, like when you're reporting a problem to your manager or whatever, when you work, like you don't want to just bring the problem to them. You want to bring the problem and then a potential solution to them, right? Like if you could just, if you're asking me about a chart, please send me the chart so that I can just look at what you have. And then if it looks really interesting, then I will chart it, but don't make me go and like look it up, please. Please. Anyway, somebody had asked me, oh, that, you know, crude was above this weekly 42.16. They're like, what do I do? Do I wait? And I had meant to respond, and I didn't respond, and I'm sorry. And it was just because I was in the middle of a bunch of trades. But what I had meant to say was that this is a weekly pivot, and if you're going to trade off of the weekly chart, you know, it's fine to take a position there, a long position if you wanted one. But I would have, if it was midweek, you know, because we don't have confirmation, I would have probably said, you know, and because I wasn't watching the price action weekly, daily, hourly. I just haven't been watching oil. I suck. I don't know. I'm still bearish. I'm still bearish oil. But anyway, I would have said to take a small position, wait for the end of the week to get confirmation, and then just have a plan. Now, this chart, though, is still not bearish, right? Because we're still above the, is that the 9? Let's look. I can never tell. Yeah. We're still above the 9. We're below the 20, right? No, we're still above the 9 and the 20. We're just below the 50. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So it's still a bullish looking chart. I'm just not bullish. I don't know what's wrong with me. I got problems. If it does get back above here again, though, and I did say this before, I think I said it offhandedly, that if it gets above here, especially if it gets above the previous high, then that's bullish, and it is, but it had to hold there. And I hate to add the stipulations after, because you want well defined, if this then that, but the thing is, if everything was able to be so well defined without watching the price action, then everybody would be super rich. Then all those people that try to sell you all those things about how you can turn, you know, $10,000 into $1 million, all of them would be accurate, right? Like there's no, you have to actually watch the price action. I hate to add that on afterwards. I do, because I hate that myself when I see other people doing it. But anyway, so that is oil. And so for now, I didn't short it. That's what I probably would have done, but then I would have been unhappy about it if I was watching it. For now, I would say that, you know, as long as it holds above this 9 MA, it's not bearish. But it's a lot more bullish if it closes the week above the 42.16. That's my opinion. All right. Let's go look at natural gas. So this was one of my 3 musketeers, guys. Not gonna lie. So I've lost a lot of money to natural gas because I kept stopping out. I kept trying and trying and trying and trying and trying. And you know, this was a very constructive week. We've had constructive weeks in the past that have not not yielded us the kind of results that we're looking for. But this was a very constructive week. If you look, the MAs look a little bit different here than before. But I have sold off 2/3 of my position again to short the NASDAQ, and I feel sad about that at this time, actually. But it's okay. It's okay. I still have my third position, well, and I can add back. I have a little bit of cash right now. I can add back if I see an opportunity, or if it gets. I mean, I'm not a good Momo trader, but I will try. I will try. But anyway, this is Natural Gas Weekly, and let's look at the daily. So, okay, we had this Head and Shoulders that I pointed out. This is this pink line here was sort of the measured move here. Well, there's two of them, and it's also a tiny little gap. But anyway, 2.26 approximately, which it did meet this week a couple of times. And somebody said, "Hey, did you get a sell signal on Natty?" No. Nope, sure didn't. I was actually somebody I trade with, and I just kind of back and forth with them on Twitter a little bit. They were shorting it at some point, and I was like, but anyway, we'll see what happens. I mean, above this piggy line, so above the 2.6 level, it's going to be, and especially above here, which let me mark it on Monday. 2.287. If it gets above there, moonbeams, it'll probably go all the way. I'd probably go all the way to this pink key line, if I'm guessing, which is 2.489. It can also go down because it's Natty. But if it does go down, and if it retests this key level, which is 1.985, I'm going to buy it again. I'm going to buy it again. But anyway, I'm still holding that 1/3 position in my investment account. All right, let's talk about coffee. So I think I alerted the Twitter folks right about here for my coffee trade. And I've been talking about it for quite some time here. I actually didn't talk about it. Remember, I don't know if you guys watched that closely, but I was trying to pull up a chart and it said coffee up here, and I was like, guys, I've been cheating on my commodities because I was watching it around here trying to catch the bottom, and I did. Yay me, I'm a bottom catcher. But anyway, midway through the week, I'm like, it's above RSI resistance here, and it was, and then it wasn't. So at this point, I was like, moonbeams, and then it just kind of went down from there. Let's look at the daily. See when that happened. I mean, a lot of it happened on Thursday into Friday. Thursday is when I took some off. But I would be watching this. Wow, that's weird that this price action works here for both the daily and the weekly. That's a little bizarre. But anyway, if it gets to 33.99, which also looks like it's going to be right above this orange MA, which is the 20, we've discussed this, right? If it gets there, I'll buy it back. And I might even, I'll buy it back, and then I'll buy at least some of it back, if not all of it, because I don't, I made a lot of profits on it, so maybe I'll buy, my original position back as opposed to the whole third I took off, like, you know what I mean? Because here 1/3 of the trade was a lot less than it is here. So maybe I'll add an original third back here, and then another third back if it gets to the 20 or below the 20, because then I think it'll flash back. And it's possible that it won't. So I'll prepare myself for that as well. I'll do my little Excel spreadsheet and figure out how much I can lose, or just in case. All right, that's it. Let me make myself big. Thank you. So, I'm like looking at myself here. I'm like, it looks like it's twilight. It's dark here already. It's only 4:40, but it's been storming a lot. Anyway, this is kind of intimate. Anyway, all right. Thank you so much for subscribing and liking my videos, and just being so helpful and kind and supportive. And I hope that I've been helpful to you as well. And I will see you around the interwebs. Okay, bye.